Assalamualaikum everyone. Today we'll be exploring the lexical item of English language across three diverse countries, which are India, Turkmenistan, and Morocco. Our research aims to understand how English is influenced and used in the daily conversation in these countries. For further notice, we are actually using country circle model as our framework. Based on this model, countries are categorized into three different circles according to their history and progress of English language. Firstly, we have inner circle, which circle filled with nations whose native speakers speak English language. For example, United States of America, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Next is outer circles, which is a circle filled with nations that use English as a second language. For example, Malaysia, India, Pakistan, Singapore, and many more. Last but not least, we have expanding circle, which consists of countries that use English language as a foreign language. For example, these nations are Japan, Korea, China, Indonesia, Argentina, Turkey, Morocco, and furthermore. In our study, we were focusing on Turkmenistan and Morocco as representative of the expanding circle where English is used as a foreign language, while India as an example of outer circle where English plays an important role in education, business, workplace, and communication purposes. By comparing these countries, we hope to understand better on how history, culture, and social aspects shape the way English language has evolved. This will also help us to learn and see the unique feature of each local English language that has been localized to fit the different linguistic environment and how English has maintained its global status as the first most spoken language in the world. We will start our presentation with taking a look at the history, progress, and role of English language in each country, followed by analysis of specific lexical item used in each different countries. So let's firstly get started by exploring the unique and beautiful case of India. Hi, my name is Aleya Farina binti Mohd Fakrulhisham from DEC 5D, and today I will be presenting Variety of English Language Final Project. So first thing first, I would like to present regarding the background of my subject. The name of my interviewee is Tiru Malarau Devaganugula, who is a 36 years old man. I call him Mr. Tiru. His nationality is India. He was raised and born in Andhra Pradesh. His educational background is in degree of information technology. He used three languages, which is Hindi, English, and Telugu. And he's currently working in international company, which is DHL. And because of this, he has lived in Malaysia for 16 years. A little background of India nation is that India is one of the most linguistically diverse nations in the world. There are over 121 languages and 270 mother tongues. Interestingly, English language does included in this list too. And what's more interesting is that English language itself is the second official language of India after Hindi language. This happened due to the fact that India used to be colonized by United Kingdom from the 17th century till 1947. After India gained its independence from British in 1947, India has declared Hindi language as the first official language of India. However, English language still remain in use, especially in business, education, administration, and law. Nonetheless, English language is also used as a communication language between college-educated people. The first question that I would like to ask you is, do you notice any changes in English language in your country?
Yes, let me put this way. Do you know Run and Martin textbook? It's a grammar book. Run and Martin. There is a grammar book which is very famous in India, not now, maybe 20 years back when I was studying, maybe I would say around 1990s. It's very standard grammar book, and people who studying in high school, like class 6, 7, 8, during that time, they have to complete this complete book. It's a complete English grammar. So you can understand by completing high school itself during that time, people used to have more command over English language, particularly grammar. Later on, what happened was influence from United States increased in India. So the importance to grammar has reduced, and general communication or business communication kind of teaching or priority has moved, something like we can say. Yeah, that's a major change I observed.
What I gained from this part of interview is that I learned English language in India has constantly evolved and progressed. As we can hear from what Mr. Thiru has just said, it started with Ron and Martin as a textbook in English syllabus in India. However, as time passed by, the importance of teaching grammar reduced because of the influence of United States of America. Therefore, currently they are prioritizing more on general communication and business communication syllabus in English language in India. English language is still being taught in Indian school till these days. Furthermore, each local state in India use three-language formula policy, which means in each Indian school, there are three mandatory languages being taught in Indian schools, which are Hindi language, English language, and regional language such as Tamil, Telugu, and many more. From what I found on research, India has so many languages. In your case, how many languages do you speak besides English?
Yeah, we need to understand the geography first to understand my answer actually. Say, for example, within Malaysia, okay, you have multiple states. You have Penang, Melaka, Selangor, Kuala Lumpur. Assume each state has their own country, their own language.
Yes.
How the life will be. How the life will be. Once you cross your state border, the people there will be speaking different languages and they will not be able to understand what we are speaking, right? So this is the scenario within India. Each and every state have their own language. We call it as mother tongue, right? Apart from that, we do also have a national language, which is called Hindi.
Yes, I heard of that.
Yeah, so I born in Andhra Pradesh. Our mother tongue is Telugu. Lot many Indians you see in Malaysia, they are from the state called Tamil Nadu. They speak Tamil. I can't speak. I don't speak Tamil. I speak only Telugu. Yeah. So due to this, what happens is in our school, in our education, particularly in our high school, we need to study three languages. One is our mother tongue. Second one is our national language, which is Hindi. And the third one is the English.
Oh,
we need to
study
three languages. Correct. It's mandatory.
So every state, every district.
Yes, every state. Yes, correct. And again here, government schools, they give priority to local languages. Due to that, the medium of education will be local language. But college and all will be English.
I see.
Yeah. Until high school. Yeah, correct. Until high school, we study in our mother tongue language. From college and all, we switch to English.
Oh.
It's a typical scenario.
In this part of interview, I've gained the knowledge that Indian school in India prioritize teaching three mandatory language, which are the first official language of India, Hindi, English, the second official language of India, and the third language mandatory to be learned at school is the local language or the mother tongue language of each state. However, from college, they will tend to focus or use more English language, and it same goes to workplace and business purposes. I believe this is due to the fact that when you're in college, you're not necessarily going to be in the same college in home state. Based on the thesis that I refer on my research that was made by students of University of North Texas, they said that there are a few non-standard lexical items used by Indians such as semantic reassignment, innovative compounds, use of Latinic terms in the place of Germanic, mass nouns used as count nouns, phrasal verbs for singular, deictic adverbs phrases, and mitigators and proverbs. However, I would like to clarify that my research on analyzing lexical items of Indian English language are focusing more on semantic reassignment, because there's a lot of category under semantic reassignment, such as culturally based semantic reassignment, semantic reassignment of verbs, semantic reassignment of nouns, as well as semantic reassignment of adjectives. So without wasting any more time, let's move on to the first aspect of analyzing the lexical item used in Indian English speakers. The first category in semantic reassignment that I'll be focusing is culturally based semantic reassignment. In this category, the research used the term pairs as an example. Based on the thesis result, it was stated that there are 4 Indian English speakers use the term mango for pear, and the other 2 use guava for pear. Further stated in the journal, the speaker raised in Andhra Pradesh used the term mango for pear because Andhra Pradesh is one of the largest state that produce mango in India.
Question, sir. India, as we know, is a very wide and a big country filled with beautiful varieties of languages. Does different state community use English language in different way? For example, based on my research, Karnataka citizens who speak Kannada language call pear as a mango. They call pear as a mango. Does it goes the same with citizens that lived in Andhra Pradesh, for example?
No.
No.
That is
Oh,
specific
so
to
it's
Karnataka.
so it's different. Okay, I
Yep.
see.
Yeah.
So again, to relate to your answer just now, it all back to the mother tongue and your
Exactly.
mother language,
Correct.
the influence of your mother language, right?
Next category under semantic reassignment that I'll be focusing is semantic reassignment of verbs. In this category, there are a few examples given in the research. It was stated that Indian English speakers use the term keep for put. So for example of saying put the fruit in the basket, it was stated that Indian English speakers use keep. For example, keep the fruit in the basket.
In what way does the Indian English language impact the way you use standard English in workplace or in your life? For example, based on my research, I found that some of Indians use Indian English language, the word keep instead of put. So to put it in a sentence, instead of saying keep the fruits, you say put the fruits.
Possible.
Is it true?
Yes.
Possible?
Possible. Correct.
Yes, it does.
Yep,
Would you
yep.
like to share
Keep and
your...
put, we tend, I mean, interchangeably use it actually. Keep,
Oh,
put. Yes, correct. Possible.
Last but not least, the third category that I'll be focusing under the semantic reassignment is semantic reassignment of nouns. In this example that given, it was stated that Indian English speakers use certain nouns instead of the expected nouns. So an easy example is that instead of using a word basket, they use bowl. So for example, instead of saying put the fruit in the basket, they will say keep the fruit in the bowl.
Do you notice any word usage of your Indian English that are different from the standard English? For example, I'm going to give you example. One particular journal, it give an example that Indian language often use bowl for a basket. So instead of saying put the fruit in the basket, Indian English often used put the fruit into the bowl. Is it true, sir? Yes.
Not true.
Oh, is it true?
Yeah. I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
We use basket as basket. There is no. I mean, whatever I'm saying no is not applicable for my state. You need to understand that. If
Oh,
you
yes,
speak
yes, I
with
understand.
if you speak with other state people, because of when they translate their mother tongue language into English, they may use like this. Say, for example, whatever you said, right? Deer and goat, if they have similar words, very near word in their mother tongue, they often confuse and then start using one for both in English.
In this part of interview, what I gained is that there are some of the theory that I've done research on is agreed and approved to be true by Mr. Thiru. However, there are also certain theories that I've learned that are denied by Mr. Thiru. By this, I mean that lexical item used by Indian English speakers may be different accordingly to how they are raised and where they are from. In conclusion, I can say that lexical item used by Indian English speakers does get influence and derived from their mother tongue. However, in India, there are over 270 mother tongue. Therefore, these Indian speaker language uniquely have a different idiolect, have a different set of lexical item that they use in their daily conversation using an English language.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Insyirah Aqisha binti Shahrul Nizam from DEC 5D. Today, I'm going to present about Indian English based on the interview that I have conducted. Before we go to the analysis part, I would like to introduce my interviewee. Her name is Rajalin Sahu. She is 17 years old. She was born and raised in India. She currently studying in the 12th grade. She speaks Odia fluently and has some knowledge of Hindi. Her language background provides valuable insight into how young individuals from regional language background engage in code mixings.
My name is Rosalind
Mhm.
Sao and I'm 17 years old, currently in my 12th grade, and I speak a little bit of Hindi but fluent in Odia.
The reason why I chose her is because she provides a clear and structured explanation of code mixings, covering its usage, social and generation influence, and cultural significance. Each point is carefully selected to ensure the audience understand not only when and why code mixings happen, but also how it affects communication in different settings. This approach makes the information engaging and relevant to real life conversation. So now let's move to the first aspect, which is the history and current progress in English. English was introduced to India during British colonial rule when it became the main language for government, education, and business. Over time, it became an important part of official communication and law. However, India is a country with many different languages. Many people use a mix of English and Hindi or other regional language in their daily speech because it feels more natural and expressive. Based on my research, in India's multilingual society, English is crucial because it is function as a common language and blend with regional tongue to create unique form of India English.
So mostly Indian speakers naturally blend words from Hindi or our regional language, that is Odia, into English, especially when we are talking informally.
Okay. Now, let's move to our second aspect, which is English power in their country. People in India use English depends on their age, education, and social background. Older generation usually speak more in their native language and use fewer English words. In contrast, younger generation, especially those who watch global media and use social media, use more English in their conversation. People who study in English medium school are more comfortable speaking in English and mix fewer words from their mother tongue. On the other hand, those who study in regional language school use more of their native language and mix English words only when necessary. Many people also use local phrases along with English because these phrases add humor, emotion, and a sense of belonging, while speaking in full English can be clear and formal. It sometimes lacks the cultural depth and feeling that native expression provide. By that, it's realized, based on my research, found that students in India frequently switch between English and their native language depending on the setting, showing that code mixing is a natural and accepted part of modern communication.
So, as for our older generation, who usually tend to use more words from our native language, that is Odia, but in case of us, like younger generation, we often use more English. Like, however, youth integrate slangs or regional phrases into English conversations, especially when we are talking online.
Oh, okay.
We do, like those who are educated from English medium school use very few or very few native language words compared to those from who are using like from Odia background or regional language background.
Oh.
For local phrases often enhances our communication in many ways, like to bring humor or to show emotions or a sense of belonging in a way that the pure English might not fully capture.
Finally, our third aspect, which is lexical item in India. Indian English is also unique because it has borrowed many words from Indian language, especially for everyday things. Words like chai, pasai, tal, and roti are commonly used even when speaking in English. Many adjectives such as paka and faltu are also a part of English. The use of dal, roti, when talking about food, and dal that's mean heart, and or badal, which is revenge, are used in emotional discussion.
Let's say from nouns, we use chai. that means tea, or paisa, that means money. For example, for example, like adjectives like pakka, that means to be genuine, or faltu, which means useless. There are a lot, but yeah, these are frequently used.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Like when we are talking, our conversations about food, emotion, or customs often include the use of native words. Like for example, we say dal, roti when we are talking about food, and dil, that means heart, or badla, which is kind of revenge, are used in emotional discussions.
Code mixing is a very common in informal setting, like when talking to family or friends. However, in professional or academic setting, people try to use pure English to sound more formal. Social and professional status also affect language use. People from well-educated or high-income background tend to use more English, while middle and lower-class individuals mix English with their native language more often. Some people believe that mixing language show a lack of fluency, while others see it is a sign of being bilingual and adaptable. In formal situation, avoiding code mixing is considering professional, but in daily conversation, mixing English with native language help people communicate in a more natural and friendly way. Based on my research, found that Indian society is still shaped by English, both as a universal language and as a medium that combines contemporary communication with regional expression.
So code mixing is probably most used in like informal settings, like when we are talking to a family or friends. But if in formal business or academics, we usually tend to minimize code mixing. Social status does play a role, like though people who are from higher social or professional background often use English more than the native language, but still they code mix casually. As for the middle or the lower class peoples, they are most likely to code mix in both professional and informal conversations. People who have like weak English skills, they often use excessive code mixing, while others consider it as a bilingual fluency. Like informal settings, avoiding code mixing is mostly seen as being more professional. Whereas in casual conversation, it can make our communication more effective and natural.
In conclusion, code mixing is a common way of speaking among Indian speakers where they mix English with their native language. It happens more in casual conversation with family and friends, but it is reduced in formal setting like work or school. Other people use more of their native language while younger generation use more English but still include local slang and phrases. People from higher social or professional background and English medium school mix less while others use more native language. Some see too much code mixing as poor English, while others think it is show bilingual skill. Overall, code mixing makes conversation more natural, expressive, and connected to culture. Okay, that's all about Indian English. Now let's move on the expanded circle, which is Turkmenistan's English.
Welcome and hi, my name is Irdiyana with Othman from EC5T, and today I will share about my research which is on the country Turkmenistan. So before I begin deeply, I will need to introduce my subject. So before I briefly explain about my findings, I will need to expose and reveal the subject. So I have chosen to study Anar, the 19-year-old male from Turkmenistan. Anar was born and raised in Turkmenistan and he speaks 4 languages fluently: Turkmen, Russian, English, and Azerbaijani. He completed 11 years of study at the Russian Turkmen Specialized School and is currently pursuing his degree at Sunway University here in Malaysia. Why I choose Anar as my subject? Because Anar is a passionate student who is eager to learn new things in different countries. Because he also has a strong education background where he studied at the Russian Turkmen Specialized School for 11 years and now continuing his education at Sunway University in Malaysia. Anar speaks 4 different languages including Turkmen, Russian, English, and Azerbaijani. This language ability and making him a credible subject for my interview. And he utilized his language skills to interact with people from different countries through social media, resulting in many international friends. So, Anar is aware of the differences between Turkmenistan's English and Standard English, making him an excellent subject for my research. So, the purpose of my research is to analyze the lexical features of Turkmenistan's English as the expanding circle country, and this includes aspects such as borrowing, code mixing, and code switching, the usage of slang, and the educational background of English speakers in Turkmenistan. So here is a little bit of history and development context of Turkmenistan English. So, do you guys know that during the Soviet period, the Russian language held a position of dominance in Turkmenistan? It was their primary means of communication for government, education, and everyday interactions. However, following the country's independence, there was a significant shift. Turkmenistan began to open up to the world, and the importance of learning English language started to grow. So, how does the Turkmenistan's English develop? So, Turkmenistan undertook several initiatives to improve English language education. Firstly, by recognizing the global significance of English, the government partnered with various international organizations and universities. This collaboration aimed to enhance the quality and accessibility of English language education, ensuring that Turkmen students could compete on the global stage. Now, let's move on to the second aspect, which is his opinion on the importance of English.
Yes, of course. As much as you can, you just need to learn the different languages because it will help you. Just the simple example is traveling. You can just travel without worrying that you don't know the language of the country, and also it will help you to have a good work and communicate with other peoples.
That in his opinion, learning different language, particularly English, is vital because it opens up numerous opportunities. Because by mastering English, we can travel to different countries without the fear of the language barrier. Because now he is studying in Malaysia, and this ability enhances his travel experience and allow him to fully immerse himself in diverse culture. Moreover, he believed that proficiency in English can significantly improve our career prospect because it enables us to communicate effectively with people from various parts of the world, fostering better professional relationships and increase the chance of securing good jobs. Based on my research in Turkmenistan, the level of English proficiency largely depends on the quality of education and the duration of the learning. The more comprehensive and sustained the language education, the higher the level of English proficiency among the population. And based on my subject's answer, this research is true because he said he improved his language a lot when he came to study here in Malaysia because he used to communicate with Central Asia guide. So they use English as their communication platform.
For example, bread in Turkmen, will be Shrek.
Shrek.
Yes.
Like, how do we spell it?
CHORE.
Shrek. Oh.
Yes.
All right. That's
Maybe, for example, pilaf, right?
pilaf.
Yes, it's a rice.
Oh, I don't know.
Pilaf in Turkmen is like the meal with the meat and rice. So yes, it's like that.
So it's just like when you are talking English, you prefer to use that specific term instead of the English terms.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I get it. Okay.
So based on my subject's answer, we can see that he did use borrowing from other words into another conversation in another language. So, to speak further about this particular aspect is one of the key reasons for the borrowing of words was the expansion of trade relations with many countries around the world, which Turkmenistan also one of it. This increased interaction necessitated the adoption of new terms and concepts from other languages to facilitate communication and trade. So as we all know that Turkmenistan speak Turkish also, borrowing from the Turkic language in particular are widespread due to the significant concept they express. Because these borrowed terms fill gaps in the English language, providing words for ideas and objects that were previously unrepresented. For instance, the example that my subject gave me, to use the word like chorek for bread and pilaf for rice have been adopted into his Turkmenistan English because my subject prefers to use and borrow these terms in his English conversation instead of translating them or finding other words. These reflect the cultural and practical importance of these items and concepts in daily life. So, the study of words Turkish origin that entered the English language reveals that some of them were dynamic in terms of lexical semantic development and word formation. They were not only adopted but also actively evolved and played a crucial role in the formation of new phraseological units, enriching the English language in the process. Now, let's move on to the second part, which is code mixing and code switching.
I think quite a little bit because Turkmen and English were different and we can't combine it together, but maybe sometimes we can because, for example, we can start talking Turkmen, but then we can just say, for example, yes, like that, no, this kind of just short words.
Yeah, I get it. All right.
Following the question, did you code switch or code mix between Turkmen and English in your conversation? Because in the speech of bilingual speakers, code switching and code mixing are a common phenomena. Because this occurs when speakers have a strong enough grasp of two languages to differentiate items from either language. According to my research, some people consider that any single word from a donor language, which is not an established loanword in the recipient language, constitutes code switching. However, my subject explained that he rarely engaged in code mixing or code switching because he believes that Turkmenistan and English are significantly different in terms of their linguistic structure, making it challenging for him to combine elements from both languages seamlessly in conversation. Therefore, he preferred to keep the language separate in his speech. Answer to the question is quite similar to what I found in my research because Turkmen and English differ in syntax, grammar, and phonology, which can create a barrier to fluidly mixing the two languages. So due to these structural differences, I believe my subject prefers to keep the language separate in his speech because he believes that this approach ensures clarity and reduces the potential for confusion or misunderstanding. Moreover, the conscious effort to maintain linguistic boundaries can also be a reflection of his respect for the integrity of each language. By keeping Turkmen and English distinct, he preserved the unique characteristic and cultural significance of both languages. However, if you look back at the words that he borrowed when he using the Turkmen's term in his English language conversation, it could also consider as word mixing also because he preferred to borrow the term instead of using the English version of the term. For example, pilaf as rice. So without further ado, let's move on to the third aspect, which is the usage of slang.
I think I'm not using the slang and just using the classic English. Yeah, just normal English because I think slang use only those who have some group of people from other country who already get used to speak like with a slang language.
Yeah.
So I only communicate with the Central Asia guys, so that's why maybe I don't use slang language.
Regarding the usage of slang, based on my research, in formal settings, Turkmen speakers are more likely to use standard English because this form of the language is clear, precise, and adhere to grammatical norms, making it suitable for professionals and professional environments. So, how did my subject answer help to this? Because my subject shared his views on the use of slang because he believed that it's predominantly used among individuals who belong to the same social group or community and have grown accustomed to speaking with colloquial expression. According to him, slang often emerges in informal conversation among people who share common experience, backgrounds, or cultural reference. So, because my subject mainly communicates with individuals from Central Asia country, he doesn't find the need to incorporate slang into his English conversation. So, the linguistic and cultural context in which he operates doesn't necessitate the use of slang, leading him to favor standard English instead of both language.
Okay, I think people with different levels of education may mix languages differently. So, it's also depends on the level of the English and the level of the education.
All right.
I think it depends again because some young people can already fluently speak the English, and some elder generation cannot speak absolutely nothing.
Oh.
So it depends on the education and how you learn the English language. But if people overall study English, it's quite similar in the vocabulary.
Yeah.
So based on my research, in Turkmenistan, English is a subject that everyone is encouraged to learn, at least at the basic level. This policy is designed to provide foundational knowledge of the English language to all students. However, it's important for everyone to understand the broader context and challenges surrounding the study of English and other foreign language in the country, because I came across research that highlights the Turkmen government's effort to restrict the study of foreign language, particularly English language. Why? Because this policy aims to limit the exposure of the general population to foreign influence and ideas. As a result, only a small, privileged elite class has the opportunity to become proficient in English and communicate with non-Turkmen speakers, both within and outside the country. For your information, my subject, Anar, he is from the elite class also. So this is what gave him the opportunity to learn English language and to master the language and speak fluently.
Our country, we don't have the English group. We only have the Turkmen and the Russian group.
So you don't really speak English?
Yeah, we have just a lesson, English lesson, but we're just separately learning like Russian group and Turkmen.
All right.
So based on my subject's answer, it is proven that in Turkmenistan school, there are distinct groups for the Turkmen and Russian language. However, there is no dedicated English group. So this means that English is not used as a language of daily communication among students. Instead, English is treated as a separated lesson, isolated from the main curriculum. This separation further limits the opportunity for students to practice and improve their English skill in real-life context. Because in Anar's family, only he and his sister and his father have the proficiency in English, and the restriction on the study of foreign language and the lack of emphasizing on English in everyday communication have significant implications because while students may learn the basic of English in their classroom, their proficiency and confidence in using the language remain limited because this creates a divided where only a small elite group can effectively engage with the international community, leaving the majority of the population at a disadvantage. So, in conclusion, based on my findings and my interview I conducted, the importance of learning English in Turkmenistan has grown significantly because their efforts have been made through international partnership, but there's still some challenges remain due to limited resources and the government regulations. So, the phenomena of lexical features such as borrowing, code mixing, code switching highlight the dynamic nature of the language used there because the use of slang is also influenced by social context and peer groups. And lastly, the quality and level of English proficiency in Turkmenistan are affected by the education system and government policies. In schools, English is treated as a separate lesson rather than a medium of daily communication. Lastly, it's hard for us to find a fluent English speaker in Turkmenistan. However, I wish to have a more fluent English speaker in Turkmenistan after this, due to the efforts that have been made to improve the English quality there. So before I end my presentation for today, here are the list of references that I have used to conduct my research on finding and to support my interview findings also. So lastly, let's move on to another expanding circle country, which is the Morocco.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Muhammad Syakir bin Muhammad Baharienze. I am from the EC5D, and for my group, I choose to interview a person from the expanding circle country, and I'm going to present about Morocco English and their lexical feature based on the interview that I have conducted. So before we get started, let me tell you guys a little bit introduction about this country. First and foremost, Morocco is a multilingual and culturally diverse country where Darija and Amazigh are the official language. However, due to historical influence, French has long been the dominant language in education, business, and administrations, making Morocco a trilingual society. Furthermore, in recent years, English has been growing in importance particularly among the younger generations as globalizations, tourism, and international trade have increased the demand for English proficiency. So, as a result, many Moroccans now recognize English as a key language for them.
Alright, I'm Abdurrahman, 24, living in Morocco,
Yes.
and I work at a retail store.
Alright, before we start, I would like to introduce you my subject. So, my subject name is Abdurrahman Babach. He is 24 years old and worked as retail store employee in Morocco. He coming from a middle class family and he has a deep passion for adventure. He was born and raised in Morocco and one of his biggest hobbies is hiking and traveling around the world, where he explores new landscapes and cultures. So his experience give him a unique perspective on a language and communication, making him an interesting subject for our discussion today. I choose Abdurrahman Babach as my interview subject for several important reasons. First, he is proficient in English, which ensure that our interview session runs smoothly without any misunderstanding. Second, his international adventure have given him the opportunity to interact with people from various backgrounds, that helping him to develop a strong understanding of intercultural communication. This makes him a great source of insight when discussing Morocco's multilingual and multicultural environment. Next, let's take a look at the history and development of English.
So I would say like late 2018, something like that.
So according to Mr. Abdurrahman, English started becoming widely used in Morocco around late 2018. This growth was driven by globalization, education, and social media. So many people now see English as important for work, travel, and communications. While French is still common, English is becoming more popular, especially among the younger generation.
In my country, yes, they are using it differently from before. You know, it's like it's like they are teaching it more in schools. Like the younger generation here in Morocco, they use it in the internet. You know what I'm trying to say.
So based on his explanation, people in Morocco use English different from back then because of the influence of internet and the new generation that learn English at school. Other than that, he also has a positive view towards the expansions of English in his country.
Yes.
I would say there is three cities in my country that English is more spoken than the other cities. I would say like Marrakesh, Agadir, because they are like touristic cities. You know, there are a lot of tourists there, and so they speak English more than the rest of us.
From here, we can conclude that our research is accurate because based on Mr. Abdurrahman, English is spoken more often in Marrakech, Agadir, and Ouarzazate because these cities are popular tourist and business hub. So many people use English to communicate with international visitors, especially in hotels, restaurants, and markets. KwaZZ, known as the Hollywood of Africa, also attract filmmakers from around the world, increasing the need for English. Now, let's proceed to the second aspect, which is English power in their country. Let's see the first question of this aspect that I have asked him.
It's really important because there is like a lot of jobs opportunities that they're trying to find people that only speak English, you know. And of course, if you're gonna travel abroad, you need English for your business, you need English, you know.
Yes.
So it's like it's very very important. I mean, like need to know that we don't use English in like our daily life. I mean, in our daily life we use Darija. I mean, it's not like I'm here with my friend, I'm gonna start speaking English or I'm gonna like throw some word in English, you know. But technically, English it's only for some professional. I mean, if you are in a like in a job interview, if you are like speaking to another person, you know, something like that.
From what he said, we can identify that learning English in Morocco is really important, especially for job opportunities. He also explained that many companies prefer employees who can speak English as it helps business and tourism. Other than that, it is also essential for traveling abroad because by using English, it making communication be much easier in different countries. Secondly, he also stated that most people in Morocco do not use English in their daily life. Instead, they prefer to communicate in their first language, which is Darja.
I mean, it's important because we can now share our culture, you know, to all the world. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, not only for like people that speak Arabic or people that speak English, that speak French. You know, we can share our culture all around the world because English, like, it's a worldwide speaking language.
Lastly, according to Mr. Abdulrahman, English is important because it is widely spoken worldwide. This means that learning English provides Moroccans with better access to global opportunities in education, business, and travel. Next, for the lexical features, we want to discover whether the act of code switching in Morocco exists or not. So to confirm this, we will start with the first question of this aspect.
I mean, after the French colonization, you know,
Oh, French
because
colonization.
Morocco was colonized by France. So after that, people start switching, code switching between the Darija and French language.
Okay, they mix the language.
Yeah, they mix some words in Darija, some words in French.
So from this, we can see that many Moroccans began code switching between Darija and French after French colonizations. So the historical influence of French led to the integration of many French words into everyday conversations, making code switching a common linguistic practice. So let's move to the next questions.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they switch language like more than the real life in social media. If I'm gonna start a conversation, I'm not gonna go salam. I'm gonna salam. It's you know, we both say salam
Yes.
in our language, even Malaysia. I'm gonna say like hi, hello, or salut in French, salut, ça va. And even like if we are in a long conversation, I'm gonna start throw some foreigner language like French or English. For me, I would use I will use English. Yeah.
Lastly, Mr. Abdurrahman explained that social media plays a big role in language mixing. It encourages people to blend Darija, French, English, and Spanish in daily conversation. This reflects Morocco's multicultural society and its balance between traditions and global influence. So based on my research, I can say that everything lines up. Mr. Abdurrahman explained that French is Morocco's second language, widely used in school, business, and government. Meanwhile, English is on the rise, especially among younger generation who see it as a key to global opportunities. But here is an interesting twist. So in northern Morocco, Spanish has a stronger presence due to historical ties with Spain. So for many people there, Spanish come before English as their third language. That's why most Moroccan don't really use English in daily life. Instead, they stick to their first language, which is Darija. Alright, let's check out the last questions. First, through my research and interview with Mr. Abdurrahman, I learned that Morocco's language use is shaped by history and globalizations. Then, code switching between Darija and French became common due to historical influence, while English is now growing in education, business, and tourism. So in conclusions, Morocco's multilingualism shows its adaptability, meanwhile French and Darija remain dominant. But English is becoming more important and will continue to expand. I think that's all from me. Thank you.